Things are very quiet. We don't have a lot going on. We may see some more activity into tomorrow with thunderstorms, also on Wednesday, and then a bit of a break, and then some more chances of showers and thunderstorms, and then a bit of a break, and then you got the idea. We've got kind of a repeating pattern shaping up as we go into the early portions of maybe around Memorial Day weekend, depending on how things go. For right now, it does not seem to be too much of a major concern. There's no big threat of severe weather, so that is some very good news, but there is still a potential of that, so we do need to watch out for that. Coming up, we'll take a look at the Almanac page, our weather picture of the day, which has a very smart pupper watching the weather and being weather aware. We'll talk about what it looks like as we get into around tomorrow morning, as we go for the school bus, and we'll take a look and see what is going to be heading our direction where it comes to anything involving the possibility of severe weather. We do have a few sprinkles showing up from time to time. This is the News 12 viewing area. If you've never seen this before or have never tuned in to Weather Overtime, we cover southeast Tennessee, northeastern Alabama, northwest Georgia, and a very small part of western North Carolina with Chattanooga and Hamilton County, excuse me, right down here in the center part of your screen. That's the News 12 viewing area. If you're not in this location, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk more about weather around the rest of the country coming up here in just a little bit, but this is where we tend to focus on to make certain everybody's getting more information about what's going on with the weather. And so far as I know, we are the only video weather blog for the News 12 Tennessee River Valley area for this area of the country. I don't think any of the other TV stations are doing anything even close to that. Not humble brag, but just talking about what may be going on in and around the area. Got a brand new web spun Sylvester the Spider coming in from downtown. Got a beautiful web strung across the Tennessee Aquarium Chattanooga weather webcam. Sylvester doing his part to make certain that we'll have a few less mosquitoes downtown. Very quiet downtown. Of course, it is a Monday night, so downtown Chattanooga very much on the quiet side for the time being. Getting into tomorrow, maybe a little bit less quiet. We'll talk more about the forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Lee Point, a lot of haze, some speckles of moisture on the camera lens from the Plainview outdoor advertising camera. Going a little farther back toward downtown, Raccoon Mountain off in the distance, looking off to the west-southwest, but, excuse me, barely able to see that on the Bailey's Heating and Air camera. A few drips and drizzles out there. Downtown, looking back toward Signal Mountain, those lights up in that area in the horizon, well back above there, showing some of the radio, TV, and other antennas up there. Decently clear for the most part around the lower sections of the atmosphere, but we are seeing again some haze out there, and there are the occasional amounts of drizzle into and around the area. Patriot Concrete, our sponsor on this particular camera here. From the 2475 junction, traffic moving along, haze in the street lights, Signal Mountain viewable off in the distance, and beautiful weather for right now. Decently cool for today. Temperatures have been something else considering where we have been across much of the area. Not too many folks out and about downtown on the Tennessee River and across the footbridge. A few folks around Coolidge Park earlier on, but otherwise not that much. Traffic on State Highway 27 is moving along quite nicely. And from the Chattanooga Zoo camera, looking across Holtzclaw Avenue and also looking back toward I-24 up and down slope, very quiet traffic this evening. We've got one lone truck making its way down slope there, a wrecker it looks like, and other than that, looking back toward that facility with all those solar panels around the baseball fields in the lower portion of your screen, Chattanooga webcam is very much on the quiet side for tonight. Temperatures again at this point, beautiful, back in the mid-60s. Winds out of the southeast, so that's helping to bring in even more amounts of clouds and some scattered sprinkles out there. These temperatures today were absolutely excellent. No problem at all. 68, the official high temperature, 60 the low. That was pretty close. 12 degrees below our usual high temperature, so that gave us a very nice break from the very warm and muggy conditions out there we saw last week. Those will be coming back. We'll talk about that as well. 92, the record high, so we were some 34 degrees almost. 24 degrees below that record high temperature last set back in 1962, and that record low hasn't been set since 1941. No rainfall today. We're behind for the year by about half an inch. Not bad, but we could use some more. And then ahead for the month of May, that burst of rainfall we got last week during all that severe weather, that gave us a very nice surplus at over an inch, 0.8. So we are doing very good on the rainfall at this time. Shouldn't be a problem again for the rest of the week. Let's take a look at the forecast and show you what we've got going on. Again, winds out of the southeast, and we'll continue that direction through the overnight hours and into, again, tomorrow. For right now, it's just not seeing anything in the way of problems. Excuse me for just 1 second. This map always takes a while because it has so much data on it. Radar, satellite, and those wind arrows take up a good chunk of the data, so it has to crunch a little bit before we can move it backwards and forwards in time. So what we've got, area of low pressure right through here, area of high pressure right through here. Air around high pressure rotates clockwise in the northern hemisphere. Air around low pressure rotates counterclockwise. So these two systems are working together to push more moisture up our direction. Then we have another cold front and an area of low pressure. That's going to be swinging through as we get into tomorrow. Beyond that, we have another storm system getting ready and a little bit more energized. And beyond that, according to the long-range forecast, we probably will see even more activity heading our direction. So that, again, could be the pattern of what we see over the course of the next several days. So for right now, not seeing anything in the way of major problems, but we will continue again to see the potential for more chances of showers and thunderstorms into the course of the next several days. We'll keep you updated on that. A couple of things I want to talk about here real quick. Number one, again, the potential of seeing some problems from any severe weather. So what you're looking at here is the Cape energy, or I should say Cape reading. The sandy colors down here underneath, the sandy colors are on the bottom of the screen, and the radar, the blocky areas of radar, are on the top. So what you're seeing down here, this is going to look kind of like a sandstorm going on through, and as it's fairly weak, there's really not much of anything going on at this point in time. It stands for Cape Convective Available Potential Energy. It gives you an idea as to how much energy is in the atmosphere to create severe thunderstorms or even just thunderstorms. So the Cape and the future radar combined together, looking into the future. This is what we see going on. Again, notice that sandy color that may get a little bit stronger as we go into tomorrow, especially as we get into tomorrow afternoon. So not seeing anything in the way of major activity in the morning, but some scattered showers possible. And then as we get into the afternoon, the sunlight appears and we start to cook the lower sections of the atmosphere. So you notice that we start getting a lot more in the way of energy in the atmosphere back here. Several storms from the overnight hours all the way out to the Carolinas. We see the potential of just some activity through tomorrow afternoon and evening, Chattanooga and the News 12 viewing area up here. Then we go a little farther into the future. 10 o'clock Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, the main energy of anything in the atmosphere passes well on down to our south. And then we get, again, with that sunshine coming out, cooking the lower levels of the atmosphere. That is where we see the potential for even more showers and thunderstorms, more of a salt and pepper scattered over the area basis. So beyond that, we do not have much of anything really major taking place. Now, the best potential, let me go back by just and looking back to the west, more potential of heavier weather toward the end of the week, but again, that is about half a continent away and several days out for us. Let me go back into tomorrow morning. Overnight into tomorrow morning, it looks like we'll have some leftover thunderstorms possibly poking on through, and some of that could linger into around the afternoon and evening hours. I think that will be our best chance of picking up anything in the way of stronger weather. But on the whole, nothing like what we saw last week. Now, taking a look at the severe chances for tonight, we're looking at a generic possibility of thunderstorms. Scale of severe weather is up here in the right-hand corner, and the pale green polygon just shows the potential of thunderstorms. So for us in the News 12 viewing area, we don't have much of anything going on. Some rumbles of thunder, yes, but other than that, not really looking at too much. Now, going a little bit further into the future for Tuesday, this forecast is several hours old. So whether or not we wind up with a higher threat, this threat remains the same, or we get less of a threat, that's going to go into tomorrow. So the best thing to do would be to tune into News 12, and we'll keep you updated as to what we may be seeing here. Is there a possibility we could get a higher threat, which is what we're seeing way down this direction toward the Gulf and the East Coast? Yes, but for right now, it looks like things are relatively stable, so hopefully, again, it stays that way. Now, that is just a marginal threat for severe weather, the lowest of the severe weather potential that you can possibly get, and that goes away as we go into Wednesday. That severe threat goes all the way to the Carolina coastline, and then back to the west. We start to see another round of thunderstorms popping up. Just thunderstorms for Wednesday. It does not look to be anything serious. Last week, we made it all the way up into around the major severe weather outbreak category of high. Rarely see that until the right information and the right conditions in the atmosphere come together, like the keys rotating in a lock. You have to have the right key in the right slots in order for that door to open. Same thing happens with severe weather. If you don't have anything like that, then you are going to possibly not get quite as bad a severe weather situation. But when the Storm Prediction Center starts issuing things up into this category, you want to start paying attention, but we're not seeing anything like that, so good news on that for the time being. So I think we're doing all right on that. We do still, let me just double check this here. We do still have the potential for some heavy rainfall coming up by the end of the week. Now, this forecast is also decently old. We'll wait for anything in the way of possible changes in the forecast. This from the Climate Prediction Center from last week. We'll keep an eye on that. And temperatures over the next several days are going to be decently warm, not exactly record-breaking temperatures, but eventually we're going to be stair-stepping our way back upwards again as we go into around the area of next week. So toward the end of the week, second to last week of the month of May, that's where we're seeing, again, the worst in the way of warmer conditions coming on through. And that's what we're going to be planning for right now. One more thing I want to take a look at here before we get to the 7-day forecast is going to be the potential overnight. We're getting some readings of fog out there, but they're kind of scattered and haphazard. As we go toward very early tomorrow morning, 6 to 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time to about 7 o'clock Eastern Time, the worst appears to be right along Signal Mountain and west of Signal Mountain down toward Lookout Mountain in Georgia, and then a little bit more, but not quite as bad, over parts of north central areas of Georgia into parts of the western areas of the Carolinas. Excuse me, that is where, again, where those reds and yellows are picking up, and you see the readings of about half a mile or so, or anything below about 5 miles will be hazy, and a good possibility that's stacking up in low-lying areas where that moisture can collect. Doesn't look for right now major problems in that fog zone around the Hiwassee River, but I would tune into Chip Chapman tomorrow morning to make certain that we're not looking at any big backups with time-saver traffic. So tune in Tuesday morning. Chip will have your forecast. We'll have time-saver traffic going on so we can help you get planned and ready to go for this particular threat out there. So doesn't look too huge. It's not very widespread, but it is possible that we will see more activity like this into around tomorrow morning. So for the next couple of days, temperatures will be, again, very mild, back in the mid to upper 70s, just below normal. As the sun comes back out on Thursday, we really warm back up. More clouds and rainfall, a little bit more temperate, not record-breaking by any stretch of the imagination, but we could see the potential of some very mild temperatures here. And as we clear back out into a week from today, temperatures will once again be back in the mid-80s. So we've got some very mild numbers coming up compared to where we could could be at this time of the year. Not seeing that for right now. Hopefully it stays that way. But we also see, again, one round of thunderstorms here Tuesday and Wednesday. Another one coming up as we go toward Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then that break happens again. And then well into the future, 10 days out, could be the potential of looking at some more areas of thunderstorms, at least some showers according to the 10-day plus forecast, which has to be taken with a pretty big grain of salt just to make certain that, again, you're watching what happens in the future, and as you get closer to that event, you get a better idea as to what's going on. So that's why it's important to look ahead, but also to stay tuned every single day to the forecast. So if you have plans out here before Memorial Day into June, which is coming up pretty soon, and the start of hurricane season, so far it looks again to be decently quiet, and only that marginal threat of severe weather as we get into Tuesday, mainly in the afternoon. So that is what we're going to be mainly paying attention to for right now, so keep it tuned to News 12, and we will definitely keep you advised on that. All right, I want to let you know a little bit more about what's going on because we are rapidly approaching, it doesn't seem like that long since we got into the end of hurricane season 2023, which was a pretty active one. This one expected to be possibly record-breaking, again, depending on what happens. We've got a lot of different factors in play here. We've got an ocean surface that never really cooled off from last year. Usually it dips pretty well in the wintertime. This time there was a slight dip, but it is now the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the Caribbean are just as warm as the ocean temperatures would be in mid to late July. There has rarely been a situation like this to where we have seen this much, and that's all because of human-induced climate change, which is the ocean is absorbing that heat and trying to balance the temperatures of the planet, and we're not helping that. But we also have the cooler waters of El Nino being replaced by the hotter waters of El Nino replaced by the cooler waters of La Nina in the eastern Pacific. That is going to have an effect here to where we may see some more intense activity taking place on top of that forecast that we already have from a couple of different agencies that say that this could be a year where we run out of the regular alphabet like 2005, have to go into the Greek alphabet. It is also possible that, again, we could see storms form at just about any point in time between now and the beginning of the official hurricane season. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, 2 days from now, Wednesday, the Pacific hurricane season kicks off a little bit earlier. So we'll see what goes on there. This area gets its start officially June 1st. So it is possible that we could see some pretty bad conditions over the course of the next several weeks and months. Definitely want to make certain that you are paying attention to that if you're heading anywhere to near the ocean waters. Now, this is something that is very interesting, that we have seen numerous wildfires up into portions of Canada. And this is important also because we are bracketed by smoke from fires down across a good portion of Mexico. The ones that are up in Canada have been labeled sleeper fires because the fires, even with snow and rain and ice in the forecast and across all of portions of our neighbor to the north, it is very possible that some of that fire stayed lit into the drops and droppings of the trees and all the foliage out there that provided tinder dry amounts of fire. Tempered by the rain and the snow from above, those fires just slowly continue for months at a time. And that is exactly what we are seeing right now as this smoke continues to make its way down from portions of Canada. Now, most of that should be heading into the mid-plains states. Note also by Tuesday, this is a short-term smoke forecast. This takes the smoke and curves it back toward the east. Then we take a look at what is coming up from around Mexico, and that system, those fires down here, out over the Gulf and start heading up our direction. It does not look to be a direct impact from either of these systems for now. But again, as we get into the thick of wildfire season, Could we see like what we saw, excuse me, last year's those smoke from those fires came down over New England? Yes, it could happen that way. Could we get more smoke from those fires here? And if the patterns are right, could we get more from Mexico? Absolutely. So in the next several days and weeks, this could also be a problem. We could have problems of our own with wildfires and smoke here. In fact, if we don't get some pretty decent amounts of rainfall through the early part of what is the doldrums between late May and through about, say, late September, if we don't get enough rain in there, we could see a very active wildfire season here in this part of the country. So that is also something that really needs to be paid attention to. So keep it tuned to News 12. We'll keep you updated on the fire smoke from north and south, and we'll also let you know more about what's going on in our neck of the woods here. But this could also wind up being a very powerfully active season. So this is something that we also really need to take a look at. All right, that's most of the heavy stuff taken care of. Let's do some extracurricular activities here. Thank you very much, Barbara Davis from Chattanooga, Tennessee, for a great view from last week's fairly heavy, intense amounts of severe weather coming on through. I think that's an ear right there and a very nice furry paw. That is Max the pupper sitting there being very weather aware and keeping an eye on what's happening with the weather. So thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you, Max the pup, for sending in our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. If you've got pictures, send them in to us. We'd love to see more about what you're seeing. Drop them to our social media pages. You can drop them off by email, or you can go to our website, wdef.com/photos. You can both drop your pictures off and see what everybody else is submitting for the Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. All right, into tomorrow morning. I think I updated this. Fog and partly cloudy. There should be showers in there for tomorrow. And then for kids heading home, could be the potential of some wet conditions, more chances for showers and thunderstorms into tomorrow, which means that if you have any plans for outdoors, I think this is going to be one of the best opportunities to practice being weather aware as we see the potential for more chances of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. So out on the lake, taking a hike, not the best place to be. Again, may want to wait until a drier day comes up. Likewise, if you're planning on doing anything out on the course, and that includes Goonie Golf or PGA or anything else of that nature. I don't know what else to call it because I'm not a golfer. I'm a very good caddy, but I'm not a good golfer. So highs tomorrow, again, not bad, back in the mid-70s, but fog and showers in the morning leading to thunderstorms in the afternoon. So definitely want to make sure that you are protected from the lightning. One other thing, I should have mentioned this earlier, around the areas east of Chattanooga, southeastern Monroe County in the News 12 viewing area, you are under a wind advisory right up against the slope of the Appalachians there until 4 a.m. Eastern for that section of Monroe County. So if you're traveling I-40 between Knoxville and Asheville, if you're heading up to Morristown, Johnson City, Greenville, anything, it's, again, back over toward that Tennessee-North Carolina line, keep a firm hand on the steering wheel and watch what's going on ahead of you, because we could be looking at some very, very breezy conditions all the way over here. So something to think about for tomorrow. So please be weather aware and keep yourself updated on what may be coming your direction there. All right, from the friendinroofing.com weather/science poll of the day, borrowing this from the United Nations Environmental Program, a very cool place to go to get a lot more information about recycling efforts and climate change and what we can do to keep our home in the universe. This question from asking about habitats. Different habitats exist all over the planet. At the bottom of the ocean near the black smoker vents where volcanoes form and go upwards and have temperatures in the hundreds, well over boiling, there's life there. There's life in the desert. There's life in forests, on coral reefs, and in soil. But which one of them is the most biodiverse of all of those? 59% of you said coral reefs. The actual answer, taking only 8% of the vote, was soil. So we did have, again, a very good poll. Thank you very much for everybody who participated today. Lots of folks participating. And if you'd like to do so, use the QR code to get to our voting poll site right down here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, or just go to our website at wdef.com/vote now. You'll be able to, again, see the polls, see the results, everything else going on. We have polls for sports and weather and news. So drop by and give us an idea as to what you're thinking, and we'll have a new poll, again, going up at midnight. But thank you very much for voting in our friendinroofing.com weather poll question of the day. Really appreciate it when everybody stops by and takes a look around and sees what's going on. So thank you very much. If you'd like to find out more about what's going on where we are, again, I am on every social media that you see listed here except Facebook, which, again, this is the about 6 weeks since I've been kicked off Facebook. Somebody tried to hack my account, and Facebook is not allowing me to get back in again. No big loss, I suppose, but unfortunately at this time I cannot update any of my pages. So until that happens, I'm going to be kind of stuck doing everything else. But you can find me on Tumblr, you can find me on Counter Social, Mastodon, Twitch, Post, YouTube, Tumblr, I think I said that, Instagram, and X. You can also find me on lichess.org and chess.com if you'd like to play a game of chess. I would really love to get challenged by somebody out there. I'm not a grandmaster by any stretch of the imagination, but would love to be able to play a game of chess out there for everything. Thanks to everybody who sent in some excellent pictures from last week. This coming in, our production staff we have a great production staff here. They did a great job helping with the severe weather last week. Could not have done all that coverage without them. One of our group here is Cooper Allen, and his mother, Rachel, sent in this view of what it looked like over Saudi Daisy last week Friday when that big solar storm smacked into our planet's atmosphere. So thank you very much, Mrs. Allen, and everybody else who sent in some amazing pictures out there. Now, that being said, let me give you one more thing to take a look at here, because this is interesting. It's not entirely good news, but it is something that we try to keep up to date on so we can let you know more about what is actually happening. And I swear I had it here someplace. There we go. Okay, got it. All right, so last week, matter of fact, right about late Friday night, very late Friday night, another belch of energy made its way off the sun. There was another flare, this one a little smaller than the one we saw last week. Last week we had an X-class flare. We have X, G, C, and A, if I'm not mistaken, and that's in descending order right there. To give you an idea, last week was an X5 or so that was pretty strong. This time around, it's going to be, I believe, the geomagnetic storm is going to be a G2, so it's not quite as bad. All of this information, if you would like to check it out, it is available from the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center. To head anybody else off at this point in time, please do not call, please do not email me, please do not write telling me that I am making this up. I am not making this up. It is a real government agency under the Department of Commerce and NOAA. It is absolutely real. Not making it up for ratings, not making it up for any other purpose. We do not do that here, period, end of sentence, and I will challenge anybody who says otherwise on that. But from the Space Weather Prediction Center, we have that new blast. It's a little bit weaker as it goes across the solar system, and we should see something very late tomorrow night. But it is nowhere close to what we saw last week. So we may see something again that will possibly be some problems for ham radio operators, GPS, things like that. Again, as they say here, watches of this level are not uncommon. So we do see the potential of maybe getting in some auroras, but if we have a chance of getting to see anything, it's going to take a lot bigger than this particular storm, which again is a G2 level, way below what we saw. If you've ever heard of the Carrington event that happened back in 1859, that was the granddaddy, great big monster solar storm that was just absolutely unbelievably powerful. This storm that we saw last week was, I said, an X5. The Carrington event, X5 somewhere in here, the Carrington event was way out of that league. It was an X80. So several dozen times more powerful than what we just experienced. This one coming in, again, by tomorrow night. That one, excuse me, allergies are really causing a problem here. We could see, again, some auroras well back to our north. Sadly, I really don't think that we're going to be seeing anything here. So a geomagnetic storm watch is in effect for the planet, but it looks to be, again, about a G2 level. So sadly, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything in the way of an aurora taking place here. It would be cool, no question about that, but I just don't see that happening with the current level of what is going on. All right, think that should do it. We've been on for just about a half an hour now. Thanks to all the new people for following along on Twitch. Thank you very much for all the new followers on YouTube. Glad that you're following along and keeping an eye on what's happening here. We post all of our weather overtimes to our website, so you can find out more by going to wdef.com, and you can find out more details, again, at all of my social media pages listed down here. Again, Facebook is being persnickety, and as soon as they get things straightened out, maybe I'll be back on there, maybe I won't. And you can follow along on our YouTube and Twitch pages as well. Think that'll wrap it up for tonight. You can always check out more on News 12 at 11. Kay Blevins will be anchoring the show with me tonight, as Andrew Harrison is taking the night off for some family events going on. And then don't forget about Chip Chapman's forecast, bright and early tomorrow morning on News 12, on air and online, starting at 5 a.m., so stay tuned for more there. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA, planet Earth, solar system, Milky Way galaxy. Thanks for joining us for tonight. Have a pleasant, very safe evening. We'll have more for you again in the morning, and I'll be back tomorrow night with another edition of Weather Overtime. Thanks for joining us for Monday, May 13th.